Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So this is Jessica, and we may have met some of you already, as we used to take part in some of the clubs when we were in person. We would go and do some talks, and we've done some virtual over the course of the last 2 years. But I'll give you some background on Jessica for those that haven't met her before. So Jessica is 5, and she has a rare syndrome that affects her neurological development, her body muscle mass, reflux, constipation, and her brain has thin myelin. And the syndrome's called Pitt-Hopkins, and there's a grand total of 1,000 in the world with her syndrome. Wow. So dependent on where the deletion is in the 18th chromosome depends on how much ability they do and don't have. Jessica's communication portion is completely deleted, so they feel she's never going to speak. Although she certainly likes to sing. If anyone's already met Jessica, they know this. She was diagnosed in, diagnosed in 2018 after a genetic test that took 6 months to do. She was introduced to our local disability centre here called Kids Inclusive, and most of the Kingston families will be part of this group. They then introduced us in 2018 to Easter Seals. And this came about because at that point, Jessica was unable to sit. She was unable to actually do very much in the way of support herself at all. And it was becoming dangerous for her to be bathed in the bath because she couldn't hold herself and she was getting bigger. And this was our first foray into learning about Easter Seals and also to fill in the paperwork. The paperwork is mainly done via the centre because they know the correct terminology of the equipment. So what we were first trying to apply for was a specialised safety bath chair. Now, when I say bath chair, I'm sure everybody thinks it's this massive thing that's really safe, really supportive. When we see this, it was actually made of drainage pipe, white drainage pipe that you would use for everyday plumbing, and some fabric, blue waterproof, water-resistant fabric. So this was our first real uh-oh moment, because there was no government funding for this chair at all. So the full cost of the chair was dependent on the parent. And that full cost turned out to be $1,200. So we applied for Easter Seals, and this was in the July. And unfortunately, by the July of 2018, when we got our application in, all the funding had already been allocated and was gone. There was nothing left. So we managed to find the money, and by a second, not that one. We found a second-hand one that somebody very kindly gave to us, and we drove all the way up to St. Catherine's to pick this up. Our next foray into meeting Easter Seals was January of the next year. But by the time we got all the application together and we tried to apply, unfortunately in 2019, the Easter Seals funding had run out even sooner and had already gone by June. We were looking to do a wheelchair for Jessica at that point because now we needed to be able to move her around safely. And our hope was that Jessica would be able to maneuver herself in a wheelchair eventually. And we're still working on that every day with Jessica. And the wheelchair portion for our family was $1,300. Government pays 75% of that. And I'd like to say there are other options available to us. However, the benefits, when we tried to apply for my husband's benefits recently, we were told that we were not accepted to be able to use our benefits. I don't have benefits with my work, but they've been very kind in helping out where they can for us. Sorry, I'm just feeding her as we talk. And it was a very eye-opening scenario for us to realize that how much difficulty there is to get a lot of the equipment too, especially under COVID. Jessica outgrew her wheelchair 3 times, and we were able to get a growth kit. The growth kit alone was not covered by government, was fully expected to be covered by the family. The growth kit alone was $1,500. And that just grew Jessica's chair long enough for her to be in it for another 8 months. Then we got to the point where she needs a new chair, and we're not even 3 years into that chair. So this year we actually applied to Easter Seals in January, and we managed to be approved for our first piece of equipment with Easter Seals, but we're still waiting for the chair. The chair manufacturers are behind. They've lost a lot of their suppliers for parts. So we're not sure when the chair will turn up at the moment. But we've placed our portion. We pay $100, and then the government pays the rest of the $75, and then Easter Seals funded for us the rest, which was $1,600 for a wheelchair that will hopefully last 5 years this time, as they're meant to. We very much get involved in a lot of the fundraising. You'll see a lot of the parents when there's an Easter Seals event that will turn up out of are you finished? We find the events good for us because we get to meet other families. We also get to meet the donors that really help change our lives. When we say a wheelchair, most people are like, okay, how much does a wheelchair really affect your life? It does. Jessica just recently was in hospital. She had seizures on Sunday for the first time. She had 4 seizures in the span of 3.5 hours. And without a piece of equipment to be able to maneuver Jessica around, I would not be able to carry her overnight bags, which are, predominantly packed, ready to go for an ambulance if you need it. And all the pieces of equipment that we then need, the amount of medications and everything. So it becomes a lifeline for the parents, but it's also it's an independence for the children themselves, especially with Jessica. We're working on her to be able to wheel herself in her chair. So if she's in class, she can wheel herself somewhere. If she's at home and she wants to get to a toy and she's in her wheelchair, eventually she'll be able to wheel herself there. We also have a walker and a stander, as well as a specialized stroller. And unfortunately, it feels like costs, the minute the word adaptive, special, disability are used, the prices skyrocket for all these items. A stroller is about $12,000. And that's not even without all the extra pieces that you may need, dependent. So it comes with a standard harness. Jessica is okay with the standard harness like this, a 5-point harness. However, there are some of our kiddos, they actually need a full supportive harness. That's extra on top. That's not included in the price. So by the time you're done, sometimes some of the specialized strollers I know can get close to $18,000. And when you're having to change this out, maybe 3 years, 4 years, it gets expensive. Our first year with Jessica, there was a lot of things we didn't know we could apply for funding for. There was a lot of things we didn't know should have been covered by the government that weren't being covered. Our first year of outlay for Jessica after her diagnosis was $50,000. And that's including medication, special equipment, AFOs, specialist cushions for her bedding so that she could be safe. So really, without Easter Seals, there's a great deal of stuff that we would not be able to do. The wheelchair that we had was, we have a dog. I'm sure you could hear her growling at one point. It allows us to take Jessica with us to walk the dog. Not one of us stay home. She gets out as well. We can take her down to the lake. We can take her for walks in the park. And we have to, yes, it has to be a wheelchair accessible park. But it's simple things like that that make everyday life mean that she is incorporated and belongs in a world that isn't always thinking outside the box for someone like Jessica. No worries. Hey, Missy. So, yeah, so we also have the incontinence grant that we started getting as well for the diapers, which has been we have to special order the diapers for Jessica. Ready? We have to special order the diapers for Jessica just due to the size of her. She's growing very quickly. She's more, I know she's 5, but she's more like a 6-year-old for size. So I can't imagine what some of the older parents are having to do when they're trying to do incontinence for their kiddos, because not everybody is going to be able to be potty trained. Oh, what are you doing? Yep, no. You're going to smack me in the face. You're having a funny 5. I know, you can see the lake. Yeah. She's happy, which is great. We haven't seen this Jessica since Saturday, so this is a happy Jessica. Yeah. So down to like the high chair you can see Jessica in right now. Parents will find as many alternatives as they can for everything. So to buy something from a specialized store for adaptive high chairs, we looked, and with the cushions and the seating that Jessica needed, we were quoted $5,000 for a high chair, which seemed excessive. So we then ourselves went to look for something, and we found something similar that is workable for Jessica via Amazon. But that's not always easy for every piece of equipment. So things like car chairs, they're not covered at all. And I know down the road, she's going to need something more supportive than a normal child. We need stair lifts in the house. No, we need stair lifts in the house. Are you ready? And we're going to need a change table eventually, because I'm not going to be able to carry her up and down the stairs continuously to change her bottom. So we're fully aware with Jessica that this is a lifelong work that we will have to do, because she's never going to be independent. She's never going to be able to live alone. She's always going to have someone, a parent, or unfortunately when we're gone, a carer that is going to have to be with her 24/7. She should walk, hopefully. It's just an unknown as to when. Most of the kiddos do walk with her syndrome. However, that understanding of how to cook, how to chop, how to do something so simple as hold a cup is a lifelong learning lesson. Okay? And we love our events that we get to do. We love our events that we get to do just purely because we get to meet people like yourselves who are heavily involved in Easter Seals, to be able to say thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything that you allow us to be able to get Jessica to do, because it really is, it's so important, and us families can never say thank you enough, and thank you never seems enough, but it really does help us in so many ways to be able to, like I say, make her belong.
Nicole with Jessica. And I wondered, will Jessica ever be able to go to school?
Yeah, Jessica does go to school full time. The school has a one-on-one EA that is with her all day. So it's actually 2 EAs split over the course of a morning EA and an afternoon EA. And she has an after-school enhanced support worker that's with her till I pick her up.